Hi, it's Rich Tehrani. We're here at CTIA 2010 in Las Vegas. Today on the program we've got Tom Gruba with Motorola. He's the Senior Director of Wireless Product Marketing. Thanks for watching. Tom, how are you?
I'm great. Having a good time here at the show.
Thanks for being on the program. I think one of the questions on many people's mind is just this evolution of 4G and just the massive amount of data that's being pushed across these networks. What are you guys seeing in the market right now?
We're seeing a lot of that. So since the operators have gone to a flat rate pricing model, it's driven the users to use the data a lot more, right? They're not afraid of how much it's going to cost them, so they'll use it. That combined with the smartphones that are coming out in just plentiful fashion, including a few from Motorola, that has really just driven it down into the user's hands where they're using it more, doing more with it. So when you talk about the 3G networks, they're being just crowded. They're just at capacity. So 4G is coming in at the right time. And for Motorola, we offer two different variants of 4G. We have WiMAX, which has been on the market for several years now, and LTE. And we see both of them still being there because of what you have, which is that demand from users means that any pipe available, operators should really consider using it. So in some cases, you'll see some of our customers that, say, Imagine in Ireland, are using WiMAX, and they're offloading 3G traffic onto the WiMAX network, working with the operator to help that operator out serve their customers better. Examples like that are what it's all about.
So in terms of where WiMAX is going to see growth, it's a commonly held belief among many that we're going to see WiMAX grow internationally outside the U.S., and within the U.S. you're going to see tremendous amounts of LTE. Do you see anything like that, or what are you seeing?
So we have a lot of growth already, a lot of customers in the international markets, especially Asia-Pac, and then also in the Middle East. So a lot of places where people are either unserved or underserved, where WiMAX can come in, meet the business case needs, and deliver broadband to users. So that's what it's all about, right? Hooking up users to the internet stimulates economies.
Sure.
So you look at that, and you look at LTE. Now you have two big operators here at least looking at LTE. So obviously those two are going to drive a lot, but also you have Clear that's doing WiMAX. And so you've got 4G technologies that, again, you're going to have users using every opportunity they can to get to the internet.
So the challenge then becomes the device issue, right? Especially if we're talking about how the internet is going to be mobile and all around the world. Do we have to be concerned that devices may or may not support WiMAX, for example, and maybe all the really interesting devices will be on the LTE network? What do you think about that?
That's a great question. The ecosystem is out there for WiMAX, and so as it's built up ahead of steam and build a lot of products that are built for the types of applications. So the business models in WiMAX are starting to expand. So you don't just see desktop CPE and dongles anymore, but you're also starting to see WiMAX and Android type devices, because that's the evolution of those networks. WiMAX is also something in a chipset that people like Intel and their 6250 are putting into laptops, where a user can go into a shop, buy a laptop, it's already WiMAX enabled, and get onto an operator's network where the operator doesn't have to subsidize or provide that device. That will continue to stimulate the growth, and you'll see WiMAX type chipsets in more devices, and we expect the same out of LTE.
And eventually, I guess, the point is that these radios get less and less expensive, and it becomes easier to get them into a single integrated circuit that you can just plop into a device and just ship it out the door for a few cents more.
That's right. So as you look at things, every year they make things smaller, faster, and better. And so what that does is it gets you down into smaller and smaller footprints. And that enables you to get it into smaller devices that are, those smaller devices require less power, and that's the way it works.
So in terms of the economic environment, we went through a tough time a couple of years ago, a year and a half ago, whatever it was, and now the economy is slowly picking up. Are you seeing signs of recovery right now in international markets?
The interesting thing about broadband is everyone needs it. If you don't have a job, you need broadband. It's one of those things you have to do for your job search.
I've heard people surf more when they're out of work, actually.
Absolutely right. And so what you see is you look at countries where there's GDP growth, those countries with broadband have higher GDP growth than those that do not. And so there's a direct correlation between the two. And so what you see is governments getting into the program of offering up spectrum and wanting it for connecting their users in their markets to try to drive economic growth and stimulation.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. So we've been pretty resilient. Now, as we come out of this and as the economy picks up globally, so we're going to see even greater demand then. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, and I think where you'll see that is it's not just playing on the broadband side, but on the mobile broadband, where you start looking at devices like smartphones that will continue to drive the mobile user and a smartphone user. So as those more and more products hit the market, and as more applications become available, and as the prices drop on those devices, it pushes that down into more and more of those that don't have to be necessarily the business professionals, but more and more people. So having the means to actually secure a device like that will make tremendous growth.
So final question I'm going to ask is regarding your company, Motorola. What are you guys doing to differentiate yourself in the market in terms of just attracting buyers to your solutions?
From a networks perspective, we're doing a couple things. Number one, we focus on the RF technology. That means making sure that we help an operator use all of their spectrum, get every bit across the network you can. Number two is we're looking at the services that we provide. So our ability to provide the services to get that customer to market sooner is another component. We have technologies like SON that is about reducing or avoiding expenses as you either plan a network, deploy a network, operate a network, or optimize a network. So we're bringing all these things together along with our experience and expertise of WiMAX into LTE, leveraging that across our portfolio.
That sounds very exciting. Good luck.
Thank you.
And hope to see you on future programs.
Thanks very much.
Thank you.
Okay, Rich.